I'm gonna let you guys go first because I got nothing nice to say.
Are you serious? Well, first of all, let me just say that I'm loving the Acolyte. I'm loving it. I'm waiting for it to take off in a direction in terms of some of the action and whatnot. Um, Peppering my expectations because you have to remember that this is Disney Plus. Um, but I'm loving the story so far. I'm loving where it's going. I'm loving that it's not tagged to anything that we know or think we know about Star Wars in general, other than the fact that we know who the Jedi are, and now the Covenant of Witches is involved, and the Force is involved. But the story's just not attached to Luke and the Force and and Obi-Wan, and at least not yet. This is a time before everything that we think we know about Star Wars happened, which I think is why so many people are thrown and having some of the craziest, comments that you're seeing about it and whatnot. Because everybody thinks that they know about Star Wars. Well, this happened before Star Wars was a Star Wars and whatnot. So a lot of shit that you're talking about does not apply. Then there's the obvious, people having a problem because the main protagonist is not of certain backgrounds and whatnot. And to you, I just say fuck off. Period. I don't care. I think that it's a great show. I think that it has great potential. Just always remembering that it's Disney Plus, man. Like you're only going to get so much out of this freaking thing. It is what it is.
And the thing is that with the problems that they're having with the show is shot great. The actress is doing her job. She's doing great acting. My personal opinion. I don't see a problem with this fucking show. I don't.
I think the big thing out there is how it's messing with the lore of Star Wars. And like you said, Chase, it's not. This is a Star Wars story before Star Wars was even a story, right?
Yes.
But
Star Wars X.
The whole having the kids of the Force thing, like that was supposed to be the chosen Anakin thing. Though Anakin was the chosen one, right? So I think a lot of people have issue with that part of it.
Wait. But the only thing is, this is before Anakin.
Right, but we would have known something of that, but like there would have been written thing, there would have been something. The Jedi.
No, if they didn't write it, if they didn't have to write it down because it was before Star Wars.
I guess,
if they didn't keep the lore, in the when the Sith destroyed, when they destroyed half of the Jedi population, they destroyed all their lore. So they're not going to have their
right,
knowledge.
Then how do you even know that during the Old Republic the times were the way they were? Like especially with those Jedis involved, and the way the Jedi Council was, there were the books, right? So in the books, like there would have been something written about Force kids being born without fathers and
but the thing is the story gets told by the victor.
Yeah, hold on, because this is what I'm saying about us applying what we think we know about Star Wars. Number one, the whole point with especially this last episode was that kids created by the Force was outlawed by the Jedi. It was outlawed by the Jedi. So this wouldn't have been written down any place because it was something that was forbidden. So they wouldn't want people to even know that this thing could be done. The Covenant of Witches at this point are completely isolated and separated. They're doing what they know what to do with the Force and whatnot, which is not shared with anybody. The Jedi, when they get there, don't even know that they exist on that planet. Mm-hmm. So this thing wouldn't have got written down. First, and they haven't gotten to it, but they've already alluded to the fact that the Jedi actually slaughtered the entire Covenant of Witches, which they only would have done to cover the fact that children could be made out of the Force.
Well, we don't know that the Jedi killed them, though. We don't know that yet.
We don't. I said they alluded to it.
Oh, I thought you said okay. I thought okay.
They were alluding to it.
Yeah,
and whatnot. But they blamed it on May. But now, in the beginning, when May does her first kill, and she says the Jedi does not pull out lightsabers on unarmed people, May says, "Yes, you do." So what does May know that everybody else doesn't know? They're already alluding
Covenant
to
of the witches, and they're the ones that came to isolate the whole group.
Trying to apply what they know about Star Wars to this show, and this show happened before there was a Star Wars. You can't use those rules entirely. They don't fit and whatnot. And this is why everybody's like all up in arm about the lore. This is not about Luke. It's not about Darth.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't gotten to that point yet. This is a story before the story was even written. But I tell you what's funny for me, I'm starting to understand why people don't like the Jedi. I did not understand that in some of the Star Wars stories, but now I'm understanding why people didn't like the Jedi.
Right, the way they were going around back then.
Yeah, they have no dark past.
They were basically not above the law, but were the law. You know what I'm saying?
They were the police. They were policing the planet. They were policing the galaxy.
The damn galaxy, bro.
Like, exactly. So they were policing the galaxy, but you can't take over something being nice and or being political and just saying, "Hey, we want to do this. Go along with it," and you have to go along with it, and nothing's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is there has to be bloodshed, so this is the bloodshed that they're getting.
They like show up and basically like, okay, yeah, Osha wants to be a Jedi, and we're taking May too.
So this is I'm gonna put up a couple comments. Just the dog coming right at him, but yeah, tell him how he feels. Say it with your chest. So there's 100+ novels of the slaughter and stuff. I'm not gonna that one's kind of mean, but this is the one. The lore predates by thousands of years. So this is only what I think it was like 100 years before. So like in the books, like for example, the ones that Luke had in like the newer. See, like that's what I'm talking about. That information that was in there, and like even though the Knights of the Old Republic, that whole part of the Jedi was kind of destroyed, like something survived that, and I would find it very odd to see that not being written down, especially those 4 Jedi that were there. They seemed like, I mean, look at Soul. Soul's a kind of a, he's training young Jedi. Like they would have reported back something, even if it wasn't. Even if you didn't know that they were necessarily born of the Force, like these two, the Force dyad thing, that's a whole thing that's probably going to come into play too.
But the whole point is, if you're trying to hide a murder, you're not going to put it down and write it down in the book.
Yeah, like the whole point of the story is that they did this, and they covered it up and whatnot. Like that's the whole point. When May speaks to the Jedi that was levitating there and got him to take the poison and whatnot, he says to her, we thought we were doing what was best, and then he voluntarily takes the poison. Well, if it was written down somewhere, why wouldn't everybody know why he did what he did? Nobody knows what's going on. Why? Because it was never written down.
Right, we don't know. It's fair.
You know what I mean? It was never written down, so nobody knows anything about this thing that happened. Only the Jedi that were there on the planet actually know what they did.
And they were getting knocked back one by one.
Osha just got the fire started and then sees everybody killed and gets the story that the fire killed the entire family. But May knows exactly what happened start to finish, and we haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
And that's why they're trying to get to her ass quick. The way, and that's how she was that's how she became whatever the Acolyte, because of that. Because her story deals with the fucking Jedi probably murdering her whole fucking family.
Like I said, they alluded to that already. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like everything is alluding to that factor. The entire thing with the Covenant of Witches is kind of interesting also, because when you get into the later stories, the Covenant of Witches are always kind of off and hiding and have their own isolated community. Which
even in the last series too, they were isolated by themselves.
And which is just
and doing the Sith.
On track, because this is how they've always had to live, because what they do in terms of manipulating the Force is against the rules that the Jedi agree with. You know what I'm saying?
It's fair.
I mean, I might be wrong, but the Darth Maul and these guys, weren't they also created from the Force?
No, they were still born of like like they weren't created like that. No.
Okay.
I thought Darth Maul was freaking.
I think one of the witches were the race that Darth Maul was. I forgot the name of them, to be honest.
Yeah,
I really don't remember the name, but they weren't like born of the Force like that. The only thing that we knew about that was born of the Force like that was technically Anakin, because there was no father. But like I don't know, I didn't really like the witches too much. Like I just didn't like the ceremony. Like weirded me out. Like it kind of took me out of the episode. The part I found interesting in the episode is when the Jedis came. Like I thought that brought a different element to it of like, Osha trying to lie to them, and like her like obviously she does have the Force, but like she hasn't been using it obviously, so we're trying to figure that. Like I liked that part of the episode, just like the training montage with the witches, like I'm not gonna shit on child actors, but like I felt like the children actors were better when like other people were in the scenes with them. Like when they were in the scenes together, it was a little rough, but they're children. Which the way people are shitting on those like poor kids, like it's kind of fucked up. Like they're child actors. Like give them a fucking break.
Again,
that's the part I don't like.
You know why what the partial reason for that is, which we all know. We've seen it happen with the Last Mermaid and all that kind of nonsense. But the other thing too is, again, you're on Disney Plus. They don't have time to really douse you into immerse you into the whole coven of witches to give you all of the great lore with them. They're just moving this story along, which is really my only criticism. Like they really was pushing this thing along, this story along and whatnot. 48 minutes.
The thing is one thing I gotta say: Star Wars fans, y'all motherfuckers are toxic as shit.
Oh, they're the worst.
You're fucking kid actors. You seriously? You fucking complaining about kid actors about a story that was written 1,000 years before Star Wars. You guys don't even know this story yet.
Yeah.
And you fucking being mean to fucking kid actors.
Yeah, it's mean.
Listen, man, people don't care.
So Dogzilla, the biggest problem with they nitpick, they took pretty much what they want from the extended universe and applied it to their abominations. Coven of Witches equal Dathomir witches. I understand that. The Witches of Dathomir. Taken from the courtship of Princess Leia, extended universe novel. See, you're like deep, dog. I'm curious of some of your opinions, because literally Star Wars fandom is the worst. Yeah, they did the same thing with the actress from Obi-Wan, who played Leia in Obi-Wan. They kind of wrecked her too, which she was great. Like there was like I liked her in Obi-Wan.
Exactly, but this is the thing that it goes on with the same thing we were talking about with the Crow. It's once you're
messing with the masterpiece.
Exactly. But you're not really messing with the masterpiece if you're doing something completely different. If they're trying to tell you a story that you haven't heard before. Star Wars is Star Wars. Okay, leave it like that. Okay, maybe, you know what? Take off the Star Wars title off of it. Just name it Acolyte.
Well, no, that's when you get Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, and then they shit on that because it's it's too much.
That movie was fucked.
I mean, the problem is that people that are I call them stuck. When you get to the point where you're just like completely stuck in a particular thing, and now you think you know all the details, any new detail is a problem for you, because now it's beyond what you think you know, and you think you know everything. Like you didn't write this fucking movie.
Right.
You didn't write it. You didn't write the story. You're a fan. You love the details and the characters, and that's great. But you don't know everything about the fucking story. You're not the one who started this and whatnot. Imagine you writing your own story about Star Wars, and then some asshole out there in fucking social media land is now telling you about the story that you wrote, because this is what's going on.
Well, I think that's what some people are having problems with, is that there are stories out there written about this, and like kind of like what Dogzilla said. There's so many freaking books written about it, and like the things that they're nitpicking and they're changing certain things and they're doing these things. Like I think that's what's like, and this is the Star Wars fans. Like that's what's making them mad. Which
I'm not gonna pretend.
I don't know everything either. I don't.
The biggest Star Wars fan,
yeah.
No, but I do understand when you're trying to take a story and you're putting it, you put Star Wars into it. I understand it has to come with that kind of weight. That's like with anything. You're putting your brand under this major label. But if you have a story that hasn't been told, and you have these novels, and they're taking certain parts of it, like we were talking about earlier before, the same thing they did with Endgame and the whole Avengers thing. We didn't get every Avenger that we wanted in the fucking Avengers movies. They weren't all there, but it turned out to be fucking great. Give the story a chance to fucking build. You might have a banger on here. And the first three episodes, I liked. And I'm not the biggest fucking Star Wars fan in the world.
I need to get back into like the more like the modern time of what we're in the story and just kind of see what they do. I can't. The third episode just didn't do it for me. I liked the first two. They you know, I was very intrigued. Like I felt like they were onto something. The third one just get me back to the regular time and let me see what's going on.
And the crazy thing was, all of these fucking, comments about it, but you keep hearing that the fucking viewership is blowing the doors off of everything. So I'm just saying,
the Howard Stern, baby. It's the Howard Stern project. You know how Howard Stern said?
It's not that it's bad. You just don't like the way that it's being told.
Yeah, like coming from the comics, reboots have happened again and again. This hasn't ever happened in Star Wars. That's why it isn't well received. Like kind of like we were saying.
So you tell me Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be there?
What?
You telling me Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be there?
George Lucas, man, can't really say much against George Lucas. I could say that's the thing. Like if this was George Lucas, like I don't know, like how would people feel? But
exactly, because once you mention their deity, who is George Lucas, and George Lucas we trust, and I understand why. I am not going there, but I don't want to smoke with George Lucas fans because y'all motherfuckers no.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the viewership is explosive. I'm very curious to see what happens in the next couple episodes because I don't think it's gonna go well for them, just based off of what we're seeing on the internet.
No, because people are like I said, the Howard Stern, it's the Howard Stern effect. People who watch Howard Stern and say, I just want to hear what he's going to say next.
Right. But
you don't like him. I still want to hear what he's going to say next.
Yeah. I think if this continues and they really like, because at this point she's killed 2 of the 4. How many episodes? 8? Is it 8 episodes?
I believe it's 8. Yeah. So we got technically 5 more.
So at this point, some things have to come out. The other 2 Jedi either have to be killed or whatever. There's got to be a conversation with Osha and Saul because she's going to find out what's going on and find out that Saul is partly responsible for this shit. So I think that's where this gets interesting. So I think that this thing has the opportunity to actually do something dope. I just hope that Disney really puts it down. Like that's all. You know what I mean? It's a great story. It really is.
And I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. Just to put that out there. I'm intrigued. I've been intrigued. I'm like, oh shit, yo, a floating Jedi, and this chick can't even hit him. I was like, what? Okay,
that was cool. Like that's the stuff I'm interested in. Like that was cool.
And she made him take the potion, and he was waiting because it's all his sins, and he was trying to pay back for that to say I'm sorry, but. The reason why is he saying I am sorry?
Right,
why does he feel so fucking guilty?
And that's what I'm saying. Like there's all this hidden backstory. So it's like you only got to the first 1 or 2 episodes. Yeah. People are like, oh, it's fucking terrible. They're like, dude, like
you're hating on kids, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, they're really hating on them kids, man. Like that's just like all right, fuck them kids. I particularly just didn't like the episode. I just thought there was a lot of forced things in there. It just wasn't for me. But I just want to see, like, get me back to the modern world. But y'all want a good Star Wars story? Read Darth Bane trilogy, which takes place 5,000 years before the original movie. Like, yeah.
Ooh, Darth Bane.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I will say this about the show: they are really good already at making the Jedi seem like a bunch of dicks. Like a bunch of dicks. Yeah. Like I will say
I
that.
already hate them. I'm
like and that's clearly what they want to do because like at this time like the Jedi were kind of pompous and like that's like the guy with the Darth user or whatever, like after he lit up his lightsaber for no reason at all on a rock. Pretty much said like that'll be their downfall, and that's what happened in the before Vader was Vader. That was their downfall. The Jedi just were not all there. Like they have to have conversations about everything, and it just ends up being their downfall. Go ahead, keep talking about everything. We'll just kill y'all. Like we'll just fuck y'all up. Yeah, but very divisive episode to say the least. There are a lot of unhappy people there, but it'll be very curious to see what happens during the rest of this show.
Yeah, and then we'll find out who's been training May.
I want to find out who that is. Like, is it gonna be someone from the actual lore or not? And are more people gonna get pissed off?
People gonna get pissed off regardless, bro.
It's bad out there.
Dude, I've been seeing this shit on the internet, bro. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with y'all people, bro? Jesus Christ.
Well, there we go, man. Y'all start reading the legend books and you tell me you like what Lucasfilm has put out since 2012. Yeah, it's been a little rough.